Although Chelsea can't quite seem to find the back of the net regularly enough, very few managers in the Premier League have had a better start to life than Thomas Tuchel. The Blues have won 10 of their 14 matches under Tuchel's management in all competitions, keeping 12 clean sheets during that time. Tuchel's defensive tactics in particular have been outstanding, and much promise for the future remains if Chelsea can find their shooting boots and score more goals on a regular basis. Here is the latest Thomas Tuchel's analyst covering the 14 matches in charge by myself and the Mastermind site. In all but one of the 14 matches so far, Chelsea have played with a back three, utilising wing backs and a compact defensive structure led by 3 defenders and 2 sitting defensive midfielders. The shape has shifted between a 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2 and 3-5-2 depending on Chelsea's amount of possession, and Mason Mount, who is likely to operate in between the lines of the midfield and the front two when he's in the team. Many outcasts under Frank Lampard have returned to the squad under Tuchel, including Andreas Christensen, Antonio Rudiger and Marcos Alonso. In fact, the German manager has given nearly every single one of his players a chance to perform for the team, some even in few different positions. But Tuchel has demonstrated so far, if anything, to be a very flexible manager, not only in personnel, but in tactics, system and style of play. So those are the players and a briefing on how they have fared so far. Now let's dig in more of the tactical analysis and how Thomas Tuchel uses the system to great effect. One of the essential reasons for Tuchel's incredible clean sheet record so far is the shifting and sliding of the midfield two in defence, most prominently Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic. Not only are Kovacic and Jorginho integral to Chelsea's build-up, but they also are perhaps most integral to the team's ability to win the ball back. This is also why N'Golo Kante is able to fulfill the same role as well as the other two, as the Frenchman has always been an astute tackler and a defensively sound presence. All 3 midfielders are masters of the art when it comes to shifting and sliding with the play. This can be a reactive approach in case their team loses the ball, or a proactive approach to eliminate the space in between their teammates when the opposition have the ball at the feet. Shifting and sliding essentially means working as a tandem unit to move horizontally, in particular to eliminate both space and available passing options that the opposition can exploit. They will always remain in close proximity, moving together based on the positioning of the ball. With their compactness and overall awareness, ability in winning the ball back, Chelsea can always have an instant route to stay in possession. The second they lose the ball, the midfield two race onto the scene to win it back for the Blues. As expected of a Thomas Tuchel team, Chelsea play out from the back with a set of principles of play. They remain very patient in possession, keeping nearly 70% of the ball in their 14 matches so far. The German coach has always utilised a patient build-up, including both at PSG and Dortmund, but his Chelsea team have arguably been the most patient of all these teams, passing the ball around, switching play and looking for the best routes forward rather than thrusting it long or relying on any sort of counter-attacking play. This may be a potential reason for their lack of goals, perhaps being too patient in possession, but it's made Thomas Tuchel's side a very effective outfit and one that is simultaneously very hard to break down. Of the 3 regular midfielders, Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic in particular play an important role in Chelsea's possession and build-up. This may be the reason for opting that pair in midfield rather than the more mobile, tough tackling N'Golo Kante. Both midfield men have fantastic vision and awareness when on the ball, but it's perhaps their role off the ball that's most worth paying attention to when it comes to Chelsea's possession. In early build-up phases, the central midfielders may drop into left or right of the back 3, getting on the ball as early as possible in the move. This allows Chelsea another initial option in possession to bypass an opposition's high press, or in different circumstances when the team sits off, it allows Chelsea's best players more time and space to make decisions. Both players have a fantastic knack for picking out longer passes. Of the two, Jorginho is more likely to loop one over the top of the opposition's defence, and Kovacic is more likely to hit a diagonal ball left to right and switch play. This variety allows Chelsea to hit and hurt the opposition in all kinds of ways, and it also allows the Blues a route to add some spice and innovation to their build-up. They also play a significant amount of one-touch passes, circulating the ball at pace, even despite their patience. But Mason Mount has also been a key member of this squad, and we're going to find out why. A favourite under Frank Lampard, Mason Mount has quickly established himself as a favourite under Thomas Tuchel as well, due to his incredible ability on the ball and intelligent movement around the field. It affords Chelsea an additional route into central areas, something that they struggled with to achieve in all 4 matches that the opposition have stopped them from scoring. Against Wolves, for an example, Nuno's 5-2-3 completely stunted Chelsea's ability to attack centrally, and they had no presence to operate on the ball in between the lines. That completely flipped around the next match against Burnley, and they won the match 2-0. Although Chelsea have struggled to score goals, they have made intentional strides to change that, from this sort of movement from Mount in between the lines. It's also given the British midfielder an integral role in the team, heading into an important year for his national team. But the defensive side to Thomas Tuchel has been the most impressive so far. Let's dig into that. As mentioned, Chelsea have achieved an incredible defensive record since Thomas Tuchel came in. The German manager's conceded just 2 goals since he's arrived at Stamford Bridge, keeping 11 clean sheets in 14 matches. Very few managers in the history of the game can claim a better defensive record in their opening set of fixtures. The key of the defensive approach is the quickness in transition. Chelsea may press with a reasonable amount of intensity, but it's not overly aggressive. It's more about maintaining a compact shape and being very careful with regards to who pressures and who covers in the moment. Again, the likes of Kovacic, Jorginho and Kante are essential to that process. Chelsea keep so much of the possession that they don't do an awful lot of defending. In that 3-2-5 shape that Chelsea use in moments of longer spells of possession, the opposition teams are forced to sit back in a low block. Their forward options are then restricted when they have the ball, and they can't get past the Chelsea's 2 midfield men who sit deep and don't engage in attack quite as much. When the Blues lose the ball high up the pitch, they also press to win it back right away in a diamond shape, with one of the 2 central midfielders potentially taking up a higher position at the base of that diamond. The others in these scenarios is more likely to remain withdrawn, preparing themselves to sweep up a mess in case the opposition bypass the press. During phases where the Blues press the ball closer to the halfway line and the ball is out wide, the central midfielders work together to come across. The ability to always remain in close proximity to another, particularly during defensive phases and transitions, allows the Blues to win the ball back to a great extent. Not to mention the fact that if the midfield 2 are bypassed, Chelsea still have one of the best 1v1 defenders in the world in Cesar Azpilicueta. That is not an overstatement. And 2 very strong, robust men alongside him. If opposition teams hit long balls over the top and try and expose the space in between Rudiger or Azpilicueta, the central defender, whether it be Christensen or Thiago Silva, will make sure to come across and cut out that pass in time. With all of these factors working in tandem, Chelsea have been nearly impossible to break down. Thomas Tuchel's start to life at Stamford Bridge hasn't been 100% perfect, but it's pretty darn close. But that is it. A tactical analyst of Chelsea's start to life under Thomas Tuchel, brought to you by myself and the Mastermind site. So make sure you check out their site. But what we are going to do right now is go into Football Manager 2021 to look at my recreation. I also have some training schedules alongside the results, but let's get stuck into it. So here we are, RDF's Thomas Tuchel's 3-4-3 Chelsea 2020-21 tactic. So we're going to start off by talking about the player roles, the team instructions, check the results, and lastly look at the training. So in goal we do have the sweeper keeper, which would be Edouard Mendy. Of course. The left-sided centre-back is a central defender with a defend duty. He's instructed to stay wider and tackle harder. Of course, we want to stay wider to stretch the pitch, but also get the central defenders to operate in that half space. The left-sided central defender could be Antonio Rudiger or Kurt Zouma. By the way, when it comes to this test, I didn't actually play the real-life squad. I just played what I felt was the best squad in Football Manager 2021, mainly to get the better results. So Rudiger on the left side of the central defence. In the middle of the central defence would be Thiago Silva. And for the right central defender would be Cesar Azpilicueta. I've given him the ball play defender to give him the ability to dribble more, to advance more, because if you do check in real life, it's kind of lopsided, this defence shape. Rudiger will position himself on the left hand side, Thiago Silva will position himself in the centre, but Azpilicueta is more positioned as a right back than a right sided central defender. But he's instructed to dribble more, stay wider and tackle harder. For the left wing back would be Marcus Alonso or Ben Chilwell. They are instructed to pass it shorter, take fewer risks and tackle harder. Their role is the wing back on the support duty. So we're just going to shift Ben Chilwell just for the sake of it in there. For the right wing back though, we are using a complete wing back, someone that's a little bit more adventurous than the wing back, which would be Reece James. As the advanced playmaker cuts inside and often operates in central areas, we then need someone that's going to be hitting these flanks a little bit more adventurous than a wing back would. But he's instructed to pass it shorter, take fewer risks and tackle harder. For our double pivots, we have a deep line playmaker on the left hand side, which will be the Mateo Kovacic role. He will be dropping deeper, collecting the ball. Also, from the goalkeeper when we are in transition, that is exactly where the goalkeeper is trying to distribute the ball. Now that's trying to replicate the movements of a central midfielder dropping deep as part of the back three to collect the ball. But he's instructed to pass it shorter, dribble more, because as you can see there is a huge gap between the midfield and the attackers. So we do need a central midfielder who can bring the ball forward basically. And also he's instructed to tackle harder. His partner is a ball winner midfielder. A lot of people may disagree, but as we said, the central midfielders are very key to winning the ball back. A deep line playmaker is not going to try and win the ball back intensely, neither is any other role apart from a ball winning midfielder, which is why I find it's key for a ball winning midfielder to be one of the two central midfielders. So that's why I've gone with the ball winning midfielder. That doesn't then take away the qualities from Jorginho, because Jorginho still has player traits to come deep to get the ball and dictates the tempo, which the role of ball winning midfielder is not going to take effect. Also, he's instructed to pass it shorter and take more risks. We are still encouraging him to take more risks. On the left hand side of the front three, we have the inside forward on the support duty. I could have went with the inside winger or inside forward. The reason why I went with the inside forward is because a deep line forward doesn't really penetrate often, neither would the inside winger. So we do have an inside forward and a deep line forward who will kind of take it in turns to penetrate the space. But the inside forward is instructed to get further forward, sit narrower and tackle harder. On the right hand side for the Mason Mount role, which Hakim Ziyech could play to a very good standard. But we did use Mason Mount a lot, and you can see from his average rating 7.23, he performed very well in this role. But he's instructed to roam from his position and sit narrower, deep lying forward. He's on the support duty, he's instructed to pass it shorter and tackle harder. And like I just said, this role was rotated a lot, but Tammy Abraham often played in that role. You can see how little that striking role penetrates though. He played 40 games and only scored 10 goals. Now for the team instructions, for the team mentality, we do have the positive mentality. The attacking width is set to fairly narrow, so we are going to be encouraging a little bit more of the vertical passes. We do want our two wider plays in the central areas a lot more often than we want them in the wider areas. For the approach play, we are going to be overlapping on the left and we're going to be overlapping on the right. Now, what I have noticed, Marcus Alonso actually does a lot of underlapping in real life. He really does. On Football Manager though, I couldn't really exactly get those results. But we do have underlap because the left wing back is instructed to get further forward, which he may do a lot less, or he may overlap a lot less, because I do have get further forward also in the inside forward. We do have overlap on the right hand side as well with the advanced playmaker. If he's on the outside, he is going to hold the ball and allow the complete wing back to advance as well. The passing directness is on shorter, trying to retain possession but not too much, and the tempo is on higher to try and encourage those one-touch passes and circulate the possession. In transition, when the possession has been lost, we are going to counter press to put pressure on our opponent straight away, and when the possession has been won, we are going to be making our counter movements. But not everybody, as you can see on the graph, is mainly going to affect our left wing back, our right wing back, our two wingers and our striker. When the goalkeeper is in possession, he's going to take short kicks and distribute it to Mateo Kovacic. Out of possession for our defensive shape, we are using the offside trap, the higher line of engagement, higher defense line. We are shifting our opponents outside. We do have the extremely urgent pressing intensity and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. But that there wraps up the tactic. Now, if you do disagree with anything or you have any suggestions, make sure you leave those in the comments. But we are now going to check the results for the competitions in the Premier League. We did win the Premier League. We played 38, we won 29, we drew 5 and lost 4. Those losses came against Everton away 2-1, at home to Southampton we lost 1-0, away to Tottenham we lost 1-0, and away to Man United we lost 2-0. The top goal scorer in the league for Chelsea wasn't too great. It was Kai Havertz with only 9 goals, but the highest average rated player for Chelsea was Reece James with 7.38, which is amazing, but he also had the most assists for Chelsea with 13 assists. In the Champions League, we reached the semi-final, but we got knocked out to Real Madrid, so no shame in that. But we did get shamed in the FA Cup. In the 5th round, we got knocked out by Norwich City, and in the Carabao Cup, we did come up runners-up. So we didn't get to win the double, but winning the Premier League is good enough. In the Premier League, we scored the 4th most goals with 66 goals scored. Most shots for, we came in 5th. The fewest shots against, we came in 3rd. So defensively, we were sound. Only 228 shots against us. For the pass completion, we came in 2nd, only behind Manchester City. So again, no shame in that. With the most possession, we came in 4th with 55% of the average possession. For the tackles won, we came in 4th as well with 981 tackles won. For the most dribbles made, we wasn't really a dribbling side. We did encourage more dribbles, but that doesn't always translate into making a lot of dribbles basically. But we came in 8th with 138 dribbles. For the clean sheets, we had the joint most clean sheets with Liverpool, 23 clean sheets, and we had the fewest conceded, only 19 goals conceded. Absolutely amazing. Now, for the player details, we're not going to have many players in these lists. For example, goals, we have no players. Kai Havertz only scored 9 goals, but for the most assists in the Premier League, Reece James is there with 13 assists. For the most shots, no Chelsea players. For the most man of the matches, Mason Mount is there with 7, just 1 away from the most. For the most key passes, Reece James is there with 122. For the best pass completions, well, 3 of our central defenders are in that list. We have Thiago Silva, who came in 2nd, Rudiger came in 5th, and Kurt Zouma came in 6th. For the most tackles won, we have N'Golo Kante there, our ball-winning midfielder, winning 136 tackles. For the dribbles made, we don't have anyone there. For the clean sheets, we have Edouard Mendy making 23 clean sheets. And for the fewest conceded, we have Edouard Mendy again with 17 conceded. Alex McCarthy did concede only 15 goals, but he only played 17 games, which is really not fair that he's on that list. Just to see who were the top performers in our team. So, Reece James, our right wing back, of course, was the top performer. He played 43 games, got 19 assists in all competitions, getting an average rating of 7.28. N'Golo Kante was the 2nd best player. He was the ball-winning midfielder, and he played 40 games, scoring 4 goals, getting 4 assists. Mason Mount was clearly a key player and a key playmaker. He played 35 games, scoring 7 goals, getting 11 assists. Marcos Alonso was mainly our left wing back. He played 33 games, scoring 8 goals, getting 3 assists. You can also see Kurt Zouma, Mendy, Kovacic, Rudiger, Kai Havertz and Jorginho were all also very key players for this Chelsea side. But lastly now, we are going to look at the training. So, when there was one match during the week, on the Monday it's all about the pressing, possession and team bonding. Tuesday is about defending from the front and ball retention. Wednesday playing from the back and the match practice. On Thursday and Friday is all about the match preparation, so we have defensive shape, match tactics, teamwork, attacking movement before the match on the Saturday, and then on Sunday recovery and match review. When there was 2 matches during the week, on Monday it's all about ball retention, defending from the front and team bonding. Tuesday is all about the teamwork before the match on the Wednesday. On the Thursday we are going to recover, do a match review before Friday, it's all about teamwork again. On the Saturday is all about the match, on Sunday recovery and match review. But that there, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up my Thomas Tuchel's Football Manager 2021 tactic, which he uses at Chelsea and which is a 3-4-3. My name is RDF. It has been a pleasure recording this video for you guys. If you are new or you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have any recommendations, leave those in the comments. I will see you soon. Make sure you and everyone else stay safe. See ya.